60%. All right, Mark, I love it when you do the countdown.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, citizens! You're now trapped in the nerd cage with your hosts Mark and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time. Previously on NerdCage livestream. Behold!
I just imagine a bunch of guys sitting, guys and girls, obviously, but just sitting in a room is like, so this person has this power, and this person, well, what about this guy? And he's like, well, we can give him this big old, like, most random thing ever.
Yes, hello and welcome. That's right, you're trapped in NerdCage Live. This ain't just a reaction show, but a debate show and a live discussion on everything that makes people like you and I tick. So thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday night. We understand the presidential debate is on tonight. We'll be off before that starts. And I'm here with you guys over my New York Giants, just so you know. So anyway, please hit that like button and subscribe. I am your co-host, Jay G, coming to you live from Syracuse, New York. And always with me, my man, the Fiend from Louisville, the Warrior from Wakanda, Mark Withers. What's shaking, boss?
Hey, what's going on, man? Super excited to be here as usual. And yes, the debates are tonight. So we're going to kind of keep this show short and sweet. Those of you who are joining us tonight, we really appreciate it. We know that these debates are, tonight's debate's a pretty big deal. And we're going to try to get off before then. So without further ado, Jay, let's get started. What's our first topic?
Well, before we even get started, man, just a big shout out. So over the weekend, a boxing superstar was born over the weekend. Shout out to and congratulations to Teofimo Lopez, who's now the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, beating Vasily Lomachenko. And you know what? I think it's so badass that we have a unified champion in New York State out of Brooklyn, New York. So we are very looking forward. As a boxing fan myself, I'm very excited to see Lopez's career for the next 10 to 15 years. It's awesome. Boxing is back. 3 million people watched the fight on ESPN over the weekend, and I was just absolutely thrilled to see, a underdog upset result.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So there were a bit of a big controversial news today, or not today, this week, that we got to talk about. So it comes to my attention that Jared Leto, his version of the Joker, is going to be back in the Snyder Cut. Mark, what do you got to say about that?
So you probably can guess like how I feel about it. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Snyder had a vision for, his film that included the Joker, and Jared Leto was a big part of that. And so it only stands to reason that since, he's trying to, tell the story the way it was originally intended, that of course Jared Leto would be back to film new scenes. And so, hopefully this time around we get a little bit better performance.
Yeah.
you know, in the limited amount of scenes that we got him in the DCEU, I was really not impressed.
Yeah.
I've always kind of felt that he's been like, you know, as far as like the major actors within that franchise, like within that universe, he's probably one of the weaker links, even though everything else, like, I don't want to give anybody the impression that I don't like Jared Leto. Like, I love him in a lot of different movies, like Fight Club, Prefontaine, Panic Room. Like, he's a great actor, but this, in my opinion, is the wrong role for him. But I'm open to be proven wrong. So what do you think about that, Jay?
Well, before I get to my point here, just want to shout out to the chat here. Paul Tackett, always good to see you here. Titan Goji, man, thanks for spending your Thursday night with us. Atlanta Jet, friend of the channel, thank you for coming in. We all appreciate the support. So I want to know what everybody in the chat thinks of Jared Leto being in the Snyder Cut. In case you didn't hear it, it is official. It was on Hollywood Reporter. Everything else is reporting it. So here's my take on it. Like, right. I didn't hate his performance. He's my least favorite Joker. I'll get that out of the way.
Right.
But that being said, that doesn't mean I hate him or hate his performance. I feel like we didn't get enough of him in Suicide Squad. I feel like he wasn't utilized correctly in Suicide Squad. The one thing I do believe that movie did get right about the Joker is that he is a well-known and feared criminal. You saw that in the club, that like all the criminals know him. He's like the top of the food chain among the crime families in Gotham City, and I'm kind of glad they established that right away. And they also established the fact that him and Ben Affleck have been at it for years, given that's why he's got the grills, because the punches to the mouth by Batman and this and that. I know there's some fan theories out there saying that he's Jason Todd. I don't believe that one bit. Not at all. Anyway, listen, like, I get it. It was an underwhelming performance. You heard about all the not backstage, but like behind the scenes, his method acting got in the way with everybody, and it's just, anyway, it wasn't the result. It wasn't the Joker that the hype didn't live up to the hype. That being said, now that he's under Zack Snyder's control, I have faith that we'll get a better performance this time around. On top of that, I really don't think it's going to be anything major. Like, I don't think he's going to be in it that much. But I wasn't surprised by this news, because I think Jared Leto was signed on to do Justice League originally, and of course, he was mad at the studio for him not being in the movie Suicide Squad enough. So that's just my take on it. And I'm looking at the crowd right now, and I see Scott Bannock. Thanks for coming in. Might as well have him in it. The movie's going to blow up anyway. I disagree with that, but everyone has their opinion. Titan Goji says, I'm personally not a fan of Jared Leto's Joker, but I'm glad that he's getting another chance, considering the studio interference with Suicide Squad and Justice League. That is very well said, my friend. And Paul Tech says, yeah, they could do a better job this time. So
yeah, all right. So I'll say this much about that. So I kind of agree with Titan Goji in the sense that Jared Leto now has had plenty of time to kind of reflect on that performance that he gave the first time. Yeah. Right. And he's also had time to, like, navigate, like, okay, what were the things that I did wrong? Like, what things could I have, like, done to, like, make this performance stronger? He's got a lot more prep time now, and so, I don't necessarily expect a better performance, but I think that there's a good possibility that we're going to see a very different Joker than we saw in those other films. So there is that. So here's hoping.
Yeah, absolutely. Now here's something that I remember talking about this with a friend a long time ago, before Justice League and everything happened. And again, I'm a huge fan of the... You're fine, dude. I'm a huge fan of the Injustice storyline, and we kind of got... Listen, in Batman vs. Superman, we did get a big tease, the nightmare scene, which is all, hinted at an Injustice future. Okay?
Right.
What if... I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if, in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, what if Jared Leto's Joker kills Lois Lane?
That would be amazing. I would love that. I mean, we see that sort of dream, quote unquote, dream sequence with Bruce Wayne, where the Flash comes back to him. He's like, oh, I came back too far. Like, just remember that it's Lois. Lois is the key. Yep. So it makes sense that that they would follow that storyline, and I hope that they deliver on it, because that actually is one of my favorite
Just a
story
fan
arcs.
theory. This is what NerdCage is all about.
Right.
Speculation, and that's what I'm speculating right now, that if they're going to throw him in there, and I'm assuming that Amy Adams is part of the reshoots. I'm not sure. Is she part of the reshoots? If she is, I'm just connecting the dots. What if we get that Injustice storyline, the nightmare scene, and maybe it was Jared Leto that killed Lois Lane, and Superman blames Batman for it?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah,
That'd be cool.
I would definitely be here for that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's I don't know. Every time I think about that scene in Batman versus Superman, I kind of halfway expect that, like, okay, this was like what we were supposed to see, because we also saw that dystopian future, like we saw the Furies like flying around and stuff like that. Not that the Furies are necessarily a part of the Injustice game or the comic, but I could see how like they could be worked into sort of an Injustice storyline in the films.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully, hopefully Zack Snyder will keep him on a leash, and we won't hear anything about used condoms and rats and dead rats and whatever else that he did to the cast of Suicide Squad. So,
right.
And yeah, I'm like I said, I'm intrigued. I know some people are bitching about it, and I'm intrigued. And if we're gonna get like a 4-hour miniseries, I mean, there's obviously room for more Batman backstory. And another thing I want to see is the one thing, that glaring problem with the DCEU that they never fully addressed appropriately, I should say, is the death of Robin, which I was presuming it was.
Right.
I was told it was Dick Grayson. I thought it was Jason Todd, but I guess it's Dick Grayson.
Really?
Yeah, Zack Snyder said in one of his commentaries that the Robin suit in the Batcave that we see in BVS is actually Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd. I mean, they could change that.
Choice.
Yeah. But anyway, and of course you see, the joke's on you, Batman, haha, spray painted on the Robin suit. I'm hoping they go into more in depth for that. Maybe can they hopefully give us an explanation of if we're gonna see Jared Leto in this version. I would hope they kind of maybe make reference to that about him killing Robin, assuming it was him that killed Robin.
Right.
Because in Suicide Squad, it was said that Harley Quinn was arrested for killing Robin. It didn't say she killed Robin, but she was arrested for it. So maybe that Jared Leto's Joker killed Robin, but Harley Quinn took the
framed
downfall.
her for it. Let her take the fall for it.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me, is that, not that she isn't capable of doing it, but historically speaking, the Joker has sort of thought of her as expendable. And so, so that would make a lot of sense that he would be the one to kill Robin and then just sort of leave her to take the fall for it.
Yeah.
But that's a weird, hearing that news that it's Dick Grayson and not Jason Todd, that just sounds off to me. That is, if it's true, it's kind of off-putting.
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
They easily can rectify that, because like I said, it wasn't actually revealed which Robin it was. That was just Zack Snyder saying on a commentary, that it was supposed to be Dick Grayson. Paul Tackett has a good, interesting chat here. He says the Joker killed Lois Lane in the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths. See, I didn't watch that, so
yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Not
big in the Arrowverse, so
yeah, and which is coming to an end. I know one of my friends was kind of disappointed about that. But yeah, like I said, I hope they kind of explore that. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I'm just, like I said, I'm speculating. Right. Okay, so I'm watching the clock here. So if anyone else got anything, Mark, you got anything to add to that before we move on to our next topic?
Not especially. It definitely doesn't like put me off, overall, like as far as like my anticipation for the Snyder Cut. I do think that we are going to still see some great things happen. Everybody knows I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan in general. Yeah. But after, when we've talked about it on the show, after watching BVS Ultimate Edition and then seeing this Justice League trailer, I'm actually a little bit more, actually a lot more intrigued to see what he comes up with.
And shout out to Far One Gaming. He chimed in real quick. He's our moderator. Good to see you in here, buddy. I want to see a scene at the end with the Joker laughing, and all of a sudden you see a silhouette in the darkness and just hear the C word. Out comes Billy Butcher. Wouldn't that be great? You know what? Yeah, if we got a boys crossover, that would be badass.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would definitely enjoy that.
Okay, so move on to our next topic here. Keeping it in the realm of DC. Now, this is very interesting here. We got. Let me see. Let me switch the pictures here. So Michael B. Jordan is producing a Static Shock. I don't. Is it a movie or a series? But he's playing on
a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. I have a slight problem with it though. So he's producing Static Shock, which is great. That could be, and I'm a fan of anything that Michael B. Jordan does. Like he's proven that anything he, touches turns to gold at this point. But the thing is, he's saying that I definitely want to get your take on this, Mark. He wants to launch a black superhero shared universe.
Right.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. My thing that I'm scratching my head is if you're gonna launch a universe, why are you launching it with Static Shock, kind of a obscure character? Like, me personally, like if you're gonna launch, a black hero universe, my pick to launch that universe would be John Stewart Green Lantern. That's just me.
Well, right. But we also have to think about like the characters that are actually available to him. Like for all we know, John Stewart might be, reserved. Like DC may not be willing to give him the rights to make that film. Maybe they have plans for him for the Green Lantern TV show. We don't really know.
Well, that's the thing. The Green Lantern TV show, by the way, for those who don't know, there's going to be an HBO Max series of the Green Lantern Corps, and I think it's going to be awesome, but but they're saying, but it's not going to be John Stewart, and it's not going to be Hal Jordan. It's going to be, Jessica...
Yeah, it's going to be Jessica Cruz,
yep.
Alan Scott, and Guy Gardner, and somebody else. I can't remember what the fourth one is. But that doesn't mean that, they don't have a season 2 mapped out. Maybe John Stewart makes an appearance later on. Maybe they have plans for him, if not in that show, maybe in a future DCEU film. You know what I mean? We don't really know. And the other part of that, I want to go back to the Static Shock thing.
Yeah.
He's actually, maybe not as mainstream as a John Stewart, most people know him from the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
That's why he's more popular.
That's how I know the character was the Static Shock cartoon, which was canon to Justice League and Batman the Animated Series, by the way. In fact, Batman, Kevin Conroy's Batman made an appearance in one of the later episodes of Static Shock.
Right. And so, what I was going to say about that is that Static Shock actually, Static, the character Static, is actually fairly popular in the comic book community. He's sort of the main, the flagship character of the Milestone imprint for DC. So anybody that's not familiar with Milestone, back in the 90s,
yep, Paul just mentioned it.
There was a DC imprint that was basically all black superheroes, and the biggest character from that universe was Static. And so it stands to reason that Michael B. Jordan would choose Static to start off with. And if he's really talking about making a cinematic universe with these heroes and it's under Warner, chances are they are going to be Milestone characters. So I fully expect that we'll see Icon, that we'll see Rocket, that we'll see Hardware, Blood Syndicate, all of these Milestone characters from that time. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And if it's not that, then there are plenty of other black characters within the DC universe that he could choose, that he could select and cross over into the Static franchise.
There you go. Now, do you have any picks right now to play Static Shock, or is anyone in mind, do you think, who could play the role?
I don't know, Because the thing is, like, I don't really know of a ton of actors that are in that age range.
Yeah, I was thinking
because
the same
he's like
thing.
a high school student. Like, there's not a whole lot. All the people that come to mind, like, immediately have already aged out of
exactly.
that. So, yeah, I'd have to really give that some thought.
But I do believe with Michael B. Jordan producing, it's in good hands. And I know for the longest time we've been hearing rumblings about Michael B. Jordan involved in DC one way or another. I mean, we heard the Superman rumor, we've heard the Green Lantern rumor, and now, but this is confirmation, he's producing Static Shock. So, again, huge fan. I mean, to me, you know, Adonis Creed, like, I'm a diehard fan, and I really looking forward to see what they have planned. Whether it's going to be its own universe or they're going to, you know, incorporate it somewhere else. It's still pretty cool.
Right.
So we'll see how that turns out. All right. So I'm watching the clock, everybody. So we're going to try to move along as quickly as we can. We get everybody in time to watch the debate here. So, Mark, you put a brilliant post on Facebook the other day, and I had to chime in on it. So you posted on Facebook like best cop duel or buddy cop duel. And then you put like a picture. There was like a picture of like Tango and Cash and who was and Bad Boys, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith,
Mike and Marcus,
And I'm just like, wow, that's like I had to think about that one, and I chimed in. You said, so who's the choice between these two? And I said, I like choice 3. Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, Rush Hour. That's my favorite duel.
Yeah. And then I immediately was like, well, we got to debate this. Like, we got to talk about it.
So are you going to double down? So double down, you pick right now. Who's the best cop on-screen cop duel?
Yeah, hands down, it's Mike and Marcus for sure. Bad Boys for life.
Absolutely. So you know what that means, everybody? Back to the 1v1 Rage in the Cage. Mark, I'm taking your ass to the cage. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Boom.
Okay, ladies and gents, it's time for Rage in the Cage.
Finish him.
So strap in and join the fight in the comments below. Pick a side, Team Mark or Team J. Who will it be?
Rage in the Cage is back, baby. Best buddy cop duel. Perfect one. And yes, so we're gonna do this. Bad Boys versus Rush Hour. Marcus and Mike versus Carter and Lee.
Right.
So, listen, I'm a fan of both franchises, and I'm a fan of both duos. And what it really came down to, again, you're making me pick between children. Like, if a gangster came to my house right now and says, "Hey, I'm gonna kill your children in order. Who do you want to die first?"
Yep.
That's how hard it is. It's hard for me to pick. But at the end of the day, I am not picking against Jackie Chan. Therefore,
I knew you were gonna say that.
You know me too well, man. It's Jackie Chan all day. Like, come on, let's go. So, Mark, opening argument. What do you got for why? Explain to me and tell everybody in the chat why Marcus and Mike are the better cop duo.
Okay, so before I even get started, I got to give a shout out to Paul Tackett. Like, I was looking at the chat just now, and he called out 48 hours, which I'm kicking myself that I didn't pick that. Like, yes. One of the greatest buddy cop movies of the 80s. It still endures. It's like, it's great. And I'm like, man, I should have gone with that. I kind of forgot about it. But that said, I mean, and I gotta agree with you, Jay. This is sort of like a Sophie's Choice of like, of films, of franchises rather. And so, yeah, I love Rush Hour and I love Jackie Chan. Like I'm a big Jackie Chan fan, just like you. But dude, Will Smith, man.
Yes,
Martin
I know.
Lawrence.
I know.
It's like they're just perfect together. Like, you know what I mean? Like they put that team together right at the height of both of their, both of their celebrity. Like it was a perfect matchup. It's obvious they have like perfect on-screen chemistry. They're both funny. They both can do this action stuff like that. And with each success, with each progressive like film that came, they rolled with the times. Even the newest one, they kind of roll with the time, like, and they found a way to make that to make those characters modern and address their age.
Yes.
Like, and play those characters age appropriate, but still be awesome. And so, yeah, that's why they get my vote. That's my opening jab.
Yo, I can't like hate you on that. You're absolutely right. Everything you said is on point. Like the chemistry, the fact that these guys, went to high school together and they became, cops together, and they, and yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So, well, here's the one thing that Rush Hour does that Bad Boys can't do, is the blending of cultures. Okay,
that's a good point.
The thing you got the loud, obnoxious Chris Tucker. We all know him from Friday, and like, he's funny. He's a big loudmouth. He's a very he's rough over the edges. And then here comes Jackie Chan, the more reserved, from Hong Kong, the by the book guy. But again, the thing that makes this pair up fascinating is they're just thrown in the mix together, and the cultural differences. And then the first movie where he gets in the car with them and he starts playing Beach Boys, which were, I guess, apparently big in China. And then he's like, oh hell no, and he's like, don't ever touch a black man's radio. And seeing Chris Tucker's his ways and stuff like that, and just it's just like I said, it's the culture thing that I feel like no other. I mean, I feel like every other buddy cop movie never presented that well, because it was always the two guys from the same background, or two American cops rough around the edges, where we have a Chinese cop and an LAPD cop. And and Chris Tucker's not by the book at all. He smokes weed. He causes trouble. He's a womanizer, and Jackie Chan's the complete opposite. And and the thing is, but Jackie Chan, could whoop some ass. And the thing I love about when the movies progressed is in the first movie, of course, we get the iconic watch out, and they slap each other's hands and do the kick, and Jackie Chan's just trying to carry him in the fight. And then the second one, where they fought in the spa, you could see that Jackie Chan taught him well, and he could hold his own pretty good. Right. And then of course, where he's like, flip me, Carter, flip me. And it's just, like I said, that chemistry, it's so undeniable. And that's just the only reason why I put this just a hair above Bad Boys, is the cultural thing. And to me, Jackie Chan's always been my hero. And, like I said, the East meets West couldn't have been done or executed any better. Team J all the way, baby.
Yeah, and those are all excellent points, man. Like that cultural difference is that really is like a really good point. What is the chat saying right now? Like what do you guys think?
So I'm looking at right now. Titan Goji says yes, Rush Hour. I got Fallen One Gaming says nobody's mentioning 21 Jump Street or the other guys. Hey, those are good ones. Those are
I
good
never
ones.
saw the other guys, but I do like the 21 Jump Street. Those are funny movies.
Yeah, but those movies lack the cultural impact that Bad Boys and Rush Hour had. Paul Tech says 48 Hours was close. Elena Jet says Team J. I mean, look at that. A lot of people are going with Team J on this one. I'm loving it. Scott Bannock says you guys are both.
I can't even. Go ahead.
Scott Bannock says you guys are both wrong. Point Break, Keanu Reeves and Gary Busey.
Oh God.
You guys are great. Yeah, like I said, there's so many good ones, but like I said, the pop culture impact is undeniable with Rush Hour. And listen, I'm not gonna lie to you here. Rush Hour 3 could have been much better. I still want a Rush Hour 4, and I think Bad Boys as a trilogy is better than the Rush Hour movies.
Yeah.
But if you're we're talking best buddy cop duel undeniably, it's Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan all day, every day. Team J.
Well, I mean, just the fact that you agree that as a trilogy, like the Bad Boys trilogy is the stronger one. I think that has everything to do with the staying power of that duo and how they've been able to like stick and move and like kind of like change and adapt to each scenario and each like period in time. Whereas like Rush Hour 3, not to shade like either actor, but that just, it didn't work a third time. Like, you know what I mean? There's just like certain aspects of it where it's just like, you don't get the same magic that you got out of the first two.
I agree. And I think part of that was, one, they took too long to make it. Two, Chris Tucker demanding money.
Yeah.
The pair setting, I don't think was as good as the other two movies.
Right.
But here's one thing I love about the third Rush Hour movie is there's a kind of an emotional scene there where they have a falling out, they tell each other off, and then Chris Tucker sees Short Rounds on Indiana Jones, and then Jackie Chan sees a couple other movies that reminds him of Chris Tucker, and so on and so forth. And and then Jackie Chan's in the hotel, ordering like sweet potato pie, and Chris Tucker's ordering himself Chinese food because he misses his buddy, he misses his partner, and if it wasn't for their partner, they wouldn't have got to try each other's customs and their food that they enjoy and the stuff they like to do. And I do like that in the third movie, but the third movie as a whole doesn't really hold up. I still want to see a fourth movie, as I feel like I would love to see where Lee and Carter are now, personally.
Right.
But what makes Rush Hour a great franchise is, again, I wouldn't call it fish out of water, but like you take a Chinese cop, throw him in L.A. with this obnoxious cop, and that's where it's just I think it's a more fascinating partnership than the Bad Boys.
Then two Miami cops, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Paul in the chat saying that Rush Hour was a remake of 48 Hours. I didn't realize that. I mean, you could make that argument, I guess. I didn't know if that. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, are you saying that like literally like that it was like a retooling of 48 Hours, or you're just saying that it's like so close that it might as well be that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Paul, go ahead and answer that question. I see some other chats in here. Fallen One Gaming. I wanted to make a Beverly Hills Cop an honorable mention, but that's more of a trio because you got Axel Foley, Billy Rosewood, and John Taggart. Now, let's just address the elephant in the room. Neither one of us picked Lethal Weapon. Right. I acknowledge that Lethal Weapon was revolutionary at the time.
Yeah.
But I just can't put Mel Gibson's antics, like we can't look past it at this point.
Right, and to be completely honest, that would have been my pick, honestly. Like I used to love that first Lethal Weapon movie. Like I used to watch it all the time. And if it wasn't for this thing that I can't really get past with Mel Gibson, I would have definitely picked that. But unfortunately, he gets no play in this ride. As
no, interesting thing though about the Lethal Weapons movie though is it's just kind of funny how in Lethal Weapon 4, after Rush Hour comes out, they threw in Jet Li. It's just kind of funny how in the fourth movie they threw in an Asian lead in. I mean, granted he was the bad guy in the movie, and I thought Jet Li was great in Lethal Weapon 4 personally.
Right. Didn't Lethal Weapon 4 come out before Rush Hour though?
I thought
Rush Hour came out in 99. I think.
No. It was 98. Rush Hour was 98. Yep.
Was it 98? Okay. Okay. I was thinking it came out in 99. So yeah, you may be right. You may be right.
Yeah. So again, okay. So my closing argument here.
Get to the chopper.
Whoops. Wrong sound effect. Sorry, people. Wrong sound effect. I meant to hit finish him. Where the hell did it just go? It just like disappeared on me. Oh shit. Where it is.
Finish him.
Yeah. So listen. Closing argument here. there's no other unique chemistry like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. You got the biggest mouth in the West, fastest hands in the East. Undeniable chemistry. They're forced to work together, whether they like it or not, and they learn off each other. They learn each other's customs and their ways, and what they like to do, what they like to eat, how they hang out, their music. Like, it's just, I feel like the cultural impact. There hasn't been a better combo sense when it comes to the buddy cop trope. So that's my closing argument. Again, Team J all the way. Mark, what do you got to finish your argument?
Okay, so just to reiterate, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, two of the funniest guys on the planet, who can also do action, who also act very well. They have this very natural chemistry as two veteran Miami cops. And I have to mention that Miami is my hometown. It's where I grew up. So maybe that's why it has a special place in my heart. But yeah, like I pick those two out of any buddy cop duo any day. Honorable mention to the guy that plays their captain. I can't think of his name right now. Joe Pantoliano. Yeah, yep. Joe Pantoliano. Like, yeah, like he is a big part of what makes those movies awesome. So, so there's that.
Yeah. So listen, everybody in the chat, this was a fun discussion. What is your favorite buddy cop duel? Okay, between these two, who you got, Team J or Team Mark? But if you don't agree with either of us, what is your favorite buddy cop duel? We would love to know in the chat. This has been a really, really fun debate. It feels good to go toe to toe with Mark once again. One, mano y mano, that felt pretty good. Because I was aching to, get my punches in, and I feel like I did pretty damn good tonight. So
yeah, I think you may have won this round actually. I think you may have won.
All right, so let's do. Okay, I'm seeing the clock here. Let's get back to the let's get to the open floor, and we'll call it a night here. So let's get out of the cage, people. Whoop. All right, so let's just open up the floor. We're watching the time here. We just want to tackle any questions. If you guys got any questions, anything you guys want to talk about, anything in the news you want, nerd culture you want to talk about, everyone in the chat here. Now this is last call right here, right now. Last call's early tonight. We understand that the debate's coming up in about 22 minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I am definitely watching the clock today. All right. So I guess while we wait for people to serve us some questions here. In case anyone didn't notice today, we uploaded both parts to our Superman 2 look back. I really, really hope everyone gets a chance to listen to the 40th anniversary look back of Superman 2. We had a field day recording it. Mark did some magic on his editing there, and I hope everyone gets a minute to check out these audio-only podcasts. You can get it on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube, audio only. So, we're really, really proud of that look back.
Yeah, and like Jay said, like we had a ton of fun making it. I have been waiting since we started this show. Like I've been waiting to do a look back on either Superman the movie or Superman 2, just because I think that they're so important to the genre and that they influenced everything that came after it. I think that Christopher Reeve is a quintessential Superman, best in my book. And, it was fun, super fun to like research this and find out all the behind the scenes stuff that was happening. So I really hope that you guys, will give that a listen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking at the chat right now. Fallen One Game says, let's talk about that Rambo gameplay showcase with Mortal Kombat 11, which I did share with you, Mark.
Yeah. Did you see that? I kind of laughed at it, but like...
Yeah, listen, I'm a diehard fan of Mortal Kombat, diehard fan of Rambo, and to me, it's such an odd pairing. It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, though, some of the movesets were cool, but there were some movesets in there that really scratched my head. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, if you guys watch the gameplay reveal of Rambo today, there's at one point, you got Rambo like doing the military crawl on the ground on his stomach there, and I'm like, wait a minute, if you're gonna get in a fight one-on-one, you're not gonna start doing a crawl like that. That was just so off-putting to me. But I did like the fatality where he rips the throat out. Like, that was cool. That was some Rambo shit right there. But again, it's just, and of course I like some of the the traps and stuff like that he plants and the bombs he sets up. That stuff's cool and all, but like again, it's really really hard for me to digest Rambo in Mortal Kombat 11. It's just so odd to me. It really is.
Yeah, that's definitely like a weird a weird choice to put in that universe. I'm curious to see like what Master Pacina thinks about it.
Yeah. Speaking of, I guess we can say it. Master Pacina will be coming back in December. We're going to be doing it's going to be different from last time though. We're going to be doing a watch party. It's Scorpion's Revenge watch party with Master Pacina. We're really looking forward to that. If you want to mark your calendars, it's December 17th. Spilled the beans early, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not the official announcement, but it's set in stone. I just didn't want to hype it up just yet because we have a big show coming up next week we want to hype up, and I want to take away from that. So, yes, Zach Householder of Whitechapel will be here next week, a week from today. We're very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. Like, Zach's a really good friend of mine. I've known him for years. I'm also a big fan of Whitechapel, always have been. And so I'm really excited to talk with him and have him on the show. We're going to ask him about the new album they're recording right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to ask him about his side thing, Titan Audio project. And, also he's like, a big fan of like all the things that we're big fans of too. So, it's really, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have him on the show. Like I'm really hyped for it. So
absolutely.
Week from today.
Yeah. Week from today. I never met the gentleman before, but I'm really looking forward to working with him on here. And, I got a few questions for him and, I can't now, Mark, you toured with him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was their drum tech and stage manager for close to 4 years.
All right. So I'm really looking forward to any stories from the road with you guys. So that'll be fun. That'll definitely be some fun stories to share there. And of course I definitely want one of the questions I plan on asking Zach is how he felt about the news of Eddie Van Halen passing away and how he he may have influenced him as a guitar player. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with Zach for sure, and of course all the nerdy stuff that we get to get into. So that'll be really really fun. So let's see. And Podtex says rather see Terminator in Terminator is in Mortal Kombat 11, and see that one's more believable. I will say that Terminator
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Because it involves time travel. When you incorporate time travel, it makes more sense. Not to mention, Cyrex and Sector were clearly influenced by Predator and Terminator. So the Mortal Kombat 11 Rambo comes out on Mortal Kombat 11 on November 17th. So I'll definitely have my first thoughts. When we do our stream, I'll give my general thoughts on the gameplay and stuff when I get my hands on it, so really looking forward to that. Mark, anything else you want to add before we go? I'm seeing the clock here; it's getting close to quarter of. Anything else you want to add?
So I just want to I'm looking at the chat right now, and Paul Tack is mentioning Living Color, the band Living Color. What in what context? What did I miss in the chat there?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I think he's just referring to rock musicians of colors. I think is what he's referring to.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's cool.
Well, Mark, you told me that because you sang in Dysonic, and you said I remember I listened to your show with the gentleman there from Miami Jeet Kune Do. Forgive me.
Dwight Woods.
Dwight Woods, yes. Dwight Woods on his channel, Miami Jeet Kune Do. Subscribe to his channel, by the way. He releases some really great content. Diehard Bruce Lee fan. He talks about Jeet Kune Do and Bruce Lee. Anyway, Mark, you were on his show like a week or two before we launched this channel.
Right.
And I remember listening to your interview there, and you mentioned that Living Color was like one of your biggest influences as a singer and as a musician.
Yeah. So for like growing up, I was, back in those days, back in the 80s, you really didn't see people of color doing any kind of rock at all. Like, you might see some, you might see a band that had like some aspects of like heavy music, but they weren't really doing like hard rock or heavy metal.
Yeah.
And there were two bands growing up that like really super influenced me, like in the mid 80s. One was Bad Brains, and then the other one was Living Color. And I loved like Corey Glover's voice.
Yeah.
And so when I started singing, like when I started like learning how to sing, I tried my best to sort of pattern my style after him. And so yeah, he was a pretty big influence on me. And, you know, and not for nothing, but I was just listening to like their second album, Time's Up. I was listening to that like on the way to work the other day. So yeah, it's just like, that's kind of why like that comment caught my eye. I was like, oh, Living Color. I was hoping that Paul was going to say that like, hey, they're going on tour and they're coming to Louisville. Like, I would love to see them.
Yeah. I think he just wanted to throw that topic out there, which, you know, it's a great little topic. Okay, we'll wrap this up real quick here. He also mentioned Santana. Yeah, Santana. But for me, if we're gonna go with the, you know, for me, like, I wouldn't say growing up, I was a little older when I caught on to it, but for me, Body Count. Like, I'm a diehard Body Count fan. Like, and I absolutely adore Ernie C. He's one of my favorite guitarists. Hell underrated as a guitarist. That first Body Count album still holds up, still delivers a powerful message. All their albums do, but that first album was made 30 years ago, still holds up. And Ice-T, like, again, I prefer Body Count over Ice-T's, you know, rap material, because I feel like that's just my opinion. And just to me, Body Count is like one of my all-time favorite bands, and I can listen to them all day, every day. So if we're talking like, you know, rockers of color, like, to me, like, in my DNA, it's Body Count for sure.
Yeah. One of the best performances that I remember seeing is Body Count at Lollapalooza in 1992.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like, that's what got me on board. Because like when I first heard that he was doing a rock project, I was kind of like,
well,
really?
he had that band back in high school. It's just he couldn't get it off the ground. His rap career came off the ground first, and then he brought Body Count back.
Yep.
Just for the record, I did personally try to reach out to Ice-T. I'm actually trying to get him on this show, because
I would lose it.
I tried. I haven't gotten no response yet, but I was supposed to interview Ice-T a couple, like 5 years ago at a festival, and he got caught in traffic, so we didn't have time to do it. We were going to do it. His manager, Patron, wanted me to do an interview for him on the website I was writing for, NewYorkStateMusic.com, and unfortunately he got stuck in traffic and we never got it done. But I've been trying to reach out to Ice-T's people and whatnot. I would love to have him on the show, not only to talk Body Count, but to talk Law and Order. And one of my favorite movies of all time is New Jack City. So yeah, I'm gonna try like hell to get Ice-T on the show. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'm letting you know right now, I'm being dead ass serious. I've been trying to get Ice-T on NerdCage Live. I really am trying.
Well, if you can pull off that miracle, man, like, I will be hella impressed.
Like I said, I'm gonna try like hell. So yeah, everyone, next week, Zach Householder of Whitechapel is gonna be here on NerdCage Live, open floor discussion. We're really looking forward, and of course, if you go on our channel right now, the Superman 2 Lookbacks Parts 1 and 2 are there, available to listen on YouTube and all the Podbean, Spotify, and all the platforms. So, you know, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Mark, anything you want to add before we go?
Just you know, in light of the debates that are about to happen in about 10 minutes, I just wanted to remind everybody to vote if you haven't already. You know, it's never been a more important time than right now. It doesn't even matter, you know, who you vote for, like what your political affiliation is. Just get out there and do it. You know, it's never been easier than now. And so yeah, I encourage everybody that's listening to go ahead and do that.
Now, Mark, real quick, actually, to segue into that, what you just said, are you going to be on Dion's show on election night?
We haven't really talked about it. I know that like we kind of like you know, played around with the idea, but I need to get back in touch with them and kind of work those details out, because I think that would be something good that we could do. Yeah,
and if that were to come to fruition, I will definitely make sure that the news gets out on Facebook, on Twitter, and we'll mention on stream if it happens. But I'm just saying that
Right.
I think if you and Dion, if you went on Dion's show on election night, I think that'd be prime material. I would definitely tune in for that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, all right, everybody. Again, thank you for coming out tonight. Like I said, I know everybody wants to watch the debate. I mean, it's history. All right, we can't miss it. So before we go, everybody, we ask you to pretty please like, comment, subscribe, spread this shit like syphilis. And so for you, I say, from Louisville to Syracuse to all of our fans and friends around the world at NerdCage Live, enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.
Ooh, trying to get out of the nerd cage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!
Hey, thanks everybody out there. Everyone be safe. Everyone have fun watching the debate tonight. And again, thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Rock the vote.